Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally, and today we are using clay for this third Thursday thrift flip, and I am going to start with just a couple of thrifted items, and you know what I mean when I say thrifted. It came from the good table at my dump. So yes, these are just two home decor pieces that were kind of cute, really, but not the style that I needed. So I just gave them 2 coats of a white chalk paint. While that is drying, I printed on my regular printer on some rice paper that you can get on Amazon this picture from the graphicsfairy.com, which is free and I love. And I wanted to decoupage it directly onto the larger of the two boards. And once I did that, I knew that I was going to need to extend the picture because it was the right width but not the right height. So I am just grabbing some regular old craft paints that you can get anywhere, and I am just mixing up some colors. Now, when you don't have the right color that is in the picture already, my tip is to bring the color that you do have down into the picture to make that match a little. I am by no means someone who knows how to paint. I almost never paint, but I did want to extend both the top and bottom of this. So really here I am just kind of playing. I didn't have any black, and that makes it almost impossible to get the exact color. So I am doing my best here with this deeper green. And then I am just going to continue to layer both in the clouds and in the grass area what I need to bring that down. And then to make it look a little more realistic, I will bring that road down into the grass a little bit, and then I will add some highlights and give that just a little bit more definition. And while I'm doing that, this is part of the third Thursday Thrift Flip collaboration hosted by Tammy at the Rusted Willow and Marika at Marika's Creations. And their guest host this month is Teri. So make sure you check out their channels and the playlist in my description box so you can see all the wonderful creations for this month's Thrift Flips. I decided to add a little bit more to the tree to bring that up into the new sky. And once I have this picture feeling like it has been extended sufficiently on the top and the bottom, and I've brought the road down a little and added a little bit more of the green grass, then I can kind of move on here to the clay elements that I want to bring in. One very frugal way that I think you can add clay elements to your design is to use stamps or cookie cutters or shapes that you have around the house. No need to go out and buy very expensive molds. You can probably find some pretty stamps for a couple of dollars. $1 at the Dollar Tree, in fact. So you want to press that down into the clay, use a rolling pin, get the shape that you want first, and then add your color. I'm using ink here because of the design, almost cartoon element that I'm looking for in my drawing. I want this to be very whimsical and have a pen and ink feel to it, but you could add wax or you could paint these. So or you could just dry brush over the top to get the picture to pop. So I've started with the little mama sheep, and then I'm going to repeat the same process for the little baby sheep. And then I am going to just wet my finger, wet around the edges, get those smoothed out, and then just use simple school glue here and glue them onto my picture. I feel like this is giving my picture a little bit of a whimsical feel. And then I am going to press the edges down to make sure that when this dries, it doesn't come off. And this clay that I'm using, I think I got on Temo, is actually really good and is not cracking. So that is definitely helpful. If you have some drier clay, sometimes it has a tendency to crack. To help that, paint it while it is still wet. And then I want to add a tiny little bird to a little bird mold that I got last year on Temu. And I just want to put that up into my tree and then I painted it and then used my ink pad just to put a little bit of black. I tried a pen, which did not work. So just used the ink pad. And I think this came out really sweet. I love that graphic from the Graphics Fairy. I'm glad I was able to extend it and make it feel a little bit more whimsical. So I would love to know what you think about this technique and using stamps for your clay. Now the second board, I am simply going to take some blues and some greens to give this the most basic of definitions, because I want this to feel like it has a watercolor landscape, which I have no idea how to do, but I am just, grabbing some green. I am adding some water here and there. I'm grabbing some blue. I've added a few little clouds in the top, and pretty much that is that, just to give me the basic background. This one is definitely going to be a bit more whimsical, out of my safe zone here, and definitely not something that I would typically do for my own decor style, but maybe more to have fun with my, with a child or with a grandchild. And, just having fun with this here. This is definitely something that you want to do just to kind of get used to using clay and your molds if you have any. So these molds are very inexpensive molds, and these can be found in the candy aisle, or they can be found on Amazon or Temu or any of those less expensive places. And they are literally, I don't know, $2 or something like that. They're not very expensive. Now, some of them have a better result than the others with the detail. So, that you kind of do sometimes get what you pay for. So you want to be sure to double check those and make sure that you're getting the kind of design elements that you're looking for. And once I have a couple of flowers and a couple of mushrooms and a little bird and just real basic, almost second, third grade art. I just feel like this is kind of fun, have some whimsy with it. And then, my style is typically paint it white and dark wax it, and that is going to match my home. And, that's what I love. But I thought today I have the paints out. Why not step out of my comfort zone, add a little bit more color here and there, and just have fun with this. So again, I just painted over the clay while it was still wet to prevent it from cracking, adding some brighter colors than I typically do onto the squirrel, little gray, little blue, getting some purples into the flowers and some reds and such into the mushrooms, and really just having fun. And so I hope that you will see what you have in your stash for molds or cookie cutters or stamps or whatever it is, and just kind of play with this and have fun. So once this is done, then I am going to move on to the more sophisticated molds that I do have a few of in my stash. I do decide, since I have so much color going on anyway, I may as well take the bare branches on this tree and give them some green. So I'm adding some highlights and some lowlights onto the branches and a little bit more color at the top of this picture, and then that is it. So let me know what you think about this cute little whimsy picture. I think that I like the squirrel the best here on this one, but I absolutely love the sheep on the other one. Sheep are definitely more my style. So that is a lot of fun though, and I think that it would be a real blast to do if you have any children, especially in that, 6 to 10 age range. And just pull out your inner child for a few. Now that is the second thrift flip item that I got on the good table at my dump. And then while I still had some of that clay out, I decided to go ahead and pull out the IOD stamp, mold that I purchased with the birds on it recently. Now this is a gorgeous mold. And if you do have some extra money, it definitely, if you, if you have a reason to purchase it, then it definitely is worthwhile to have something more sophisticated in your stash. But I understand that just to play, they can get costly, but the detail is phenomenal. The micro edge is wonderful to have. It definitely does make your crafts more sophisticated. So if it's not for fun, if you have a design element that you really want to embellish for yourself, or if you have a reason, to sell some items, it is well worth investing in these IOD molds. And I just put some on some skewers from the dollar store that I cut down and then painted, and then once they were a little bit more dry, I added some dark wax because this definitely is more my style here. And then I broke some of the smaller ones that were not IOD. I don't think I had filled the clay enough. So there it is, just stuck. I glued it onto the stick and stuck it into a little floral designed plant that I already had in my stash to give that just another little pop, and then just give you another idea of something real simple, some clay and a popsicle stick, and that's it. Now this one here, I just painted a terracotta pot. I figured everybody has a terracotta pot. If not, you can get them at the dollar store. And I just kind of dry brushed mostly white paint onto that. I took the IOD bird and I glued that directly on, pressing down some of the edges to make sure that that's not going to give me some gaps as it dried. And again, while it is still wet, I am just going to dry brush some of the white paint over the top. I was going to do a blue wax for you here. I needed to get out a container for the blue wax, and then before I knew it, I had the black wax in my hand that I had already mixed up, and I went, oh well, here you go, I'm going to do black. But I will at some point throw in that colored wax to show you the difference. But this is literally clear wax with a little bit of black paint in it, and mixed up and added onto that to bring out the design, wiped back with a rag, and then went into another stick, filled the terracotta pot here with moss, Spanish moss, some florals, a couple of eggs, and then the other bird that I had made a few minutes ago. So that's it here, just to give you a little bit of a different idea of something else to do with clay. And I set that on top of a furniture knob because I really like the way that that looks, elevating that as a little riser and making it look like an intentional design, and just a real simple idea to add something to the base of a terracotta pot here. So let me know what you think about these design ideas with clay. If you haven't, please do subscribe. These are very basic, as is my next video, which is part of the road trip with Sammy at Unicorn Dust Designs and the Crafting Cousins. But after that, I am going to be doing some paint inlays and some transfers and a lot of other larger pieces. So I would love it if you would stay tuned, and don't forget to hit the bell. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for stopping by.